Pro XRP lawyer expect SEC rug pull. What does he mean? XRP bull unleashed. 500% price rally looms after Ripple's SEC breakthrough. Citing XRP victory, United States Congressman takes action to curb the SEC regulatory overreach. Stick with us till the end to get all the information. Pro XRP lawyer John Deaton has shared his thoughts on whether or not the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, would approve a spot Bitcoin ETF. He hinted at the regulator, most especially its chair Gary Gensler, pulling a shocker on everyone who is anticipating an approval. In a post shared on his X, formerly Twitter, platform, Deaton quizzed about whether Gensler was about to pull off the greatest regulatory rug pull of all time. The lawyer put forward this question as he highlighted the amount of optimism in the market, as many expect the SEC to approve the pending spot BTC ETF applications. Specifically, he alluded to the prediction of a 90% chance that these funds will get approved by January 10, 2024. Bloomberg analysts James Seyffert and Eric Balchunas made this prediction as they believe there is a high likelihood of the SEC approving a spot Bitcoin ETF. January 10 happens to be the final deadline for a decision on ARK21 share spot Bitcoin. However, Deaton seems to believe that there is also the possibility, no matter how slim, that the regulator could deny these applications. That would explain the regulatory rug pull he mentioned, as it is likely in reference to the SEC and Gensler doing the unexpected, especially considering their welcoming reception so far. If you coming across our channel for the first time, kindly hit the subscribe and like button. In recent weeks, the SEC seems to have been more open to the idea of approving these funds as far as there is regulatory compliance on the part of these filers. The Commission has met with several of them, including BlackRock, in a bid to hash out some of their concerns. This has been touted as a positive sign, as many believe the regulator won't go to such lengths if approval isn't imminent. However, based on Deaton's question, there is no doubt that the SEC and its chair, Gensler, could still pull a fast one and move to deny these applications instead. It is worth mentioning that Deaton's post had come in response to another post made by former SEC Attorney John Reed Stark. In that post, Stark had hinted at two possible scenarios on how the regulator could go on to deny the pending spot BTC ETF applications. He suggested that the SEC's welcoming reception could simply be a SIA effort, so it could state that the reason for denial was due to the filer's failure to meet regulatory requirements. The second scenario was about the Commission denying these applications on the grounds that approval could pose a serious threat to investors. The ongoing legal battle between Ripple and the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has entered a critical phase, sparking optimism among XRP investors and potentially impacting XRP's market performance. Despite the potential for SEC appeal to extend the case's uncertainty into 2025, Ripple has shown positive signs toward a settlement, buoyed by favorable case law. Notably, the Morrison v. NAB Supreme Court ruling limits the SEC's jurisdiction to U.S.-based sales, which could reduce the penalties Ripple faces. The Liu v. SEC ruling further restricts the SEC's ability to demand disgorgement beyond net profits. The SEC's case against Govil emphasizes the need to demonstrate financial harm to investors. Ripple could argue that XRP's price trajectory shows no harm, potentially strengthening its position. With these legal precedents favoring Ripple, there's growing anticipation for a settlement beneficial to XRP and the wider crypto market. However, the SEC's likely appeal against the court ruling on XRP's programmatic sales could extend the legal battle, leaving XRP's status in limbo. XRP's price response has been bullish, with the token rallying and holding above key support levels. Technical analysis suggests a move toward the $0.7047 resistance level, with the 14-day RSI indicating room for further growth before entering overbought territory. In a new development revolving around the Ripple vs. SEC lawsuit, United States Rep. Member Tom Emmer cited Ripple's landmark court victory in mid-July to file an amendment to the federal budget. Tom Emmer is a U.S. congressman representing Minnesota's 6th Congressional District. He filed the federal budget during the United States congressional hearing on November 8. Notably, the amendment to the budget aims to restrict the SEC's liberty of having to use taxpayer funds for its regulatory actions against crypto-related enterprises. Rep. Emmer is convinced that adopting this measure will be crucial in curbing SEC's excesses. Describing possible reasons for his actions, Rep. Emmer noted that despite the SEC's plans to adopt a regulation by enforcement approach in the crypto space, no single rule was drafted as a blueprint for the crypto industry. In addition, Rep. Emmer asserted that the SEC does not have the congressional right for some of its actions. He corroborated his claims by citing comments from the SEC's Enforcement Division in which one of the regulatory body's officials admitted that the SEC is stretching its tentacles outside its jurisdiction. Still driving his unyielding stance, the U.S. Congressman highlighted the outcome of the SEC vs. Ripple legal battle. He said the lawsuit was considered a significant one by the SEC. However, going on to almost losing the legal battle it seemed to have orchestrated has a lot to say about its abuse of regulatory power. Meanwhile, Rep. Emmer's amendment bill is still awaiting approval from the final Reconciliation Committee. For now, it has been included in the House's budget bill. It is left to see how events unfold. If you enjoy our video, you can help us to reach a greater audience by subscribing to this channel, like the video, and don't forget to toggle on the notification bell so as not to miss any of our updates.